Welcome back to a very special Pauper episode. In my last video, I took a look at Skura's Mono-Blue Fae deck that crowned him the Polish national champion. While it wasn't a new deck concept, his performance did breathe new life into an archetype that was supposedly past its prime. I had so much fun last time that I've decided to bring the same deck to the Fuguete League season finals, featuring the top 16 players of the last 10 weeks. This is a single elimination event, so I'll be leaving out the video chapters this time to avoid any spoilers. Wish me luck! Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Royce, and welcome back to another Pauper video. In today's special video, we'll be doing something that I don't usually do, and that's double posting a deck. That's right, the video a couple days ago was on Mono-Blue Fae, and we're running that deck again, but bringing it into a brand new arena, and instead of a Pauper League, we'll be taking it to the Fuguete League Season 19 Finals, which features the 16 highest performing players of the last 10 weeks. And I'm super excited to do it. There are some strong players in the ranks who I'm excited, a little bit nervous to play on the big stage, so to speak, at least on Magic Online. So, I don't have much new to talk about in this deck. If you're interested in a more detailed deck tech, make sure to check out my last video after watching this one. It'll be the previous one to this on the channel. And then in that video, and probably in this video, I'm going to link all of the socials for Skura, S-K-U-R-A, who originally piloted this deck to first place at the Polish National Championship. I did have a couple of thoughts going through my mind bringing this deck into the Fuguete League Finals, aside from just generally being nervous. And one of those was that I had a couple of things I wanted to clean up. And you might remember some of them from the last video. I won't spoil it if you haven't watched it yet, but there were some misunderstandings I had on how ninjutsu worked that actually ended up working out in my favor. And I think the biggest takeaway from the last video is that you really can't have it both ways. You can't simultaneously have maximum pressure and aggression while also having maximum protection and reactive power from your counter magic. On each turn, there are a lot of micro decisions, and you need to understand what you're going up against to determine the cost and benefit of tapping out to go further on the aggressive versus leaving open mana to react to the opponent. And when you can afford to stay flexible and hold open either like a Spell Pierce or a Brine Barrow Intruder, that's a no-brainer. But let's say you have 2 mana to leave open a counter spell. They could have a sweeper like a Suffocating Fumes or an Arms of Hadar or something like that, but you also really want to spend that mana putting in like a Ninja of the Deep Hours. What do you do? Well, it just really depends on experience, it depends on statistics, and it depends on the matchup. I wonder if we'll see some more of that in today's video as well. Other than that, I don't have anything new to add, so we're going to get right into the games. The format is this is a single elimination top 16 tournament. Like I said in the intro, no chapters in the video just so nothing gets spoiled. So I hope you can sit back and relax and enjoy yourself, and I will see you again in the games and then afterward for a little bit of an outro and a recap. If you like this content and want to see more Pauper content just like this, by the way, make sure to leave a like, a comment, and a subscription. It really helps me, helps the channel, and it helps with the YouTube algorithm, yada yada. I'm going to leave it at that, and I'll see you in just a moment. Alright, we are starting our first round of the event, and we are up against Guimamogi, and let's see if we can keep this starting hand. I had to kind of rush in here, so not sure. I'm a little bit scattered at the moment. I think I can keep this. We are going first. We won the dice roll. Pretty nice. The opponent must mulligan down to 6. And we have a lot of players watching us at the moment, which means that they might be actually scattering the matches. Maybe they're not doing all of the first round at the same time. It's pretty interesting. And we will play an island. Tap that island for a Fairy Seer. Try to pick up a Ninja at this point. You've got 2 lands. A Spell Pierce is decent. Snaremaster Sprite. We need a human to pair with the Of One Mind. I think I'm not mad at the Spell Pierce to have a turn 2 play along with the Fairy Miscreant. So I guess I'll keep that. The opponent leads on Swamp and passes. Alright, so Swamp, not sure what the most likely would be at this point. So I don't know what they're playing quite yet. Let's before anything else, just attack for 1. 1 damage gets in. Then we can play out this Fairy Miscreant and pass. We do have the Spell Pierce or the Dispel for their turn 2 play. They go into another swamp. Okay, interesting. Ichor Wellspring, got it. So it's looking like this is some sort of value pile. Probably playing a lot of Deadly Disputes, Lembus, etc. There's another Spell Pierce. Well, we can't do anything proactive, so we just have to hold up multiple options here and attack in for 2. And then let's pass. Black and green. This might be Golgari Broodscale, potentially. That's possible. An island is fine. Let's swing in for 2. I don't think I'm at the point in the game where I want to be hard casting of One Mind. I have them on a pretty slow clock here, so I would like to find some acceleration. Shambling Ghast is definitely a bit annoying. If I counter it, though, they could just drop a Broodscale. I think we have to be okay with that. And then if they sack it and try to destroy a fairy, then we can just react to that. Maybe I'm supposed to counter the Shambling Ghast, but I don't think so. Moon Circuit Hacker is good, although it is susceptible to the same stuff that I just talked about. So let's go in and make an attack. Even if they decide to ping off my Moon Circuit Hacker here, it does mean I get to replay my Fairy Seer and get some value that way at least. Okay, it worked out, nice. Yes, we'll draw a card. And then next, let's go ahead and of One Mind try to pick up land number 4. I don't think we've played one yet this turn. We haven't, so let's try. We don't get land number 4, so I think I'm just gonna pass, leaving up open Spell Pierce and Dispel or flashing in a Brine Barrow Intruder. They don't have a Deadly Dispute for the Shambling Ghast. That's really interesting. But they didn't have an Ichor Wellspring either, so I wonder what they do have. Maybe just a lot of combo? They could safely resolve a Broodscale here for sure. And then just later, when they have more mana, at that point go for a Sadistically. Alright, let's cast a Spell Pierce or a Dispel. Probably Dispel. They're going to be a bit pinched on mana because they weren't able to find their 4th or 5th land, so that's good. We do have this as our human. Let's go ahead and we could go Brine Barrow Intruder now into another of One Mind, hoping to pick up another land. Honestly, I don't think we have to. Let's go Fairy Seer. And let's just get a land next turn. Actually, another Miscreant is good. So let's put the land on top and then the Fairy Miscreant on top. And then let's just attack. They are going to pass. Okay. Passing through their combat step. There's an Energy Refractor. Let's Spell Pierce that. And then I can flash in this Brine Barrow Intruder. So I think I am looking pretty good here. I can Fairy Miscreant. Yeah, let's do this while we can. Let's Fairy Miscreant for a land. And then I think just holding up Counterspell is fine. So I'll of One Mind as well. And then attack. We have them on a 2-turn clock after this. We'll definitely Counterspell a Broodscale if they play one, because we can double Counterspell next turn. Yep, there we go. That way they can't protect it with a Tamiyo's or something later. Plus, we just want to keep that off the board. We have to try to counter their Broodscales and their Sadisticles. Alright, let's just swing 4. Alright, that happens. And then we will pass, leaving open double Counterspell. We can also Counterspell, Dispel, Flash, and Brine Barrow. They can, I think, definitely sideboard in Sweepers. Although it looks like they're Golgari, so their Sweepers would probably be Drown in Sorrow or Arms of Hadar, most likely Drown in Sorrow. So Dispel wouldn't really get those. So I don't think there's anything that we can really put in from our sideboard to stop the Sweepers. So we just need to make sure to play around them. Counterspell the Energy Refractor. They're going to Tamiyo's Safekeeping. Dispel that so they don't heal. Alright, next game. Pretty decisive there, but we were just able to counter all of their card draw. So, Bind the Monster I don't think is great here. I think Annul is decent. Dispel is okay against their card draw, so Dispel hits what? It hits their card draw. It hits any instant speed removal that they might have. They might put in Snuff Out. Dispel is, yeah, their card draw, their protection. I think Dispel is decent, and I'll put in some number of annuls. This can also actually counter us sadistically, so I think I'm going to put in all 4 annuls. And with that said, I think Snap is not that great in this matchup. And then what else? Do I take out a Snare Master Sprite? I think that's fine. This is a lot better against Jund Glee. Anything else we want to change? Not really. We just have to make sure to play around their sweepers, and then we should be okay. Alright, can't keep a no-lander. They're going to keep 7. This is probably going to have to be good enough. It's not amazing. We do have a Moon Circuit Hacker, actually. So let's keep and throw back. I think Ninja of the Deep Hours is a little bit slow. I think I'd rather throw that back than one of the Brine Barrow Intruders, because if this gets interrupted, then I sort of lose my ninjutsu fodder. Okay, we got another one anyway. Not a problem. They're cracking for green. Okay. Shambling Gas, sure. So they're putting that on the table early. If they block, I might just flash in the second Brine Barrow Intruder. They do block. You know what? This can die. That's fine. Let's hold open Spellstutter Sprite for another Shambling Ghast. And then if we wouldn't get value out of it, we can just flash in this one. The Wellspring will resolve. Yep. And they're missing their 3rd land. Alright. Brine Barrow Intruder. Probably just attack here. The question is, should I Moon Circuit Hacker and Spellstutter for 1? Or should I Fairy Miscreant and Spellstutter for 2? I think they have too many 2-mana plays that I want to interrupt, so I'm not going to Ninja this turn. Plus I hit my land drops, so I am chillin'. They do have me with a not a Suffocating Fumes, whatever the 3-mana sorcery speed is. One is Suffocating Fumes too, but Drown in Sorrow. They do have me with a Drown in Sorrow here. Alright, they just play a land and pass. Sure. So we have to make sure to Ninja in the off of the Brine Barrow Intruder, not off of the Fairy Miscreant, which we would do anyway. And I think here, since I don't have anything I want to do with the rest of my mana, I have 4 already. I'm just going to go ahead and try to Ninja of the Deep Hours off of the Brine Barrow Intruder. I don't think I need the flexibility that Moon Circuit Hacker provides here. So I still have 2 fairies in play. So I'm still answering their Deadly Dispute. Or Eviscerator's Insight. That's fine as well. And even if they take this off the board, my fairy count is still 1. Alright, we're totally tapped out here, so they can do whatever they want for a turn. We're going to draw 3 cards next turn if we are uninterrupted. If they have the Drown in Sorrow at this point, it's rough, but not the end of the world. I think with against Jund Glee, you're sort of forced to play against them like they're a fair deck, because they can always just pivot to mid-range with Writhing Chrysalises. But against Golgari, what's more important is just playing according to their tempo. They do get the Drown in Sorrow, unfortunately. Yep. It's okay. I think we had to play into that. We didn't really have any possible counters. They put 1 on top. Okay. So I think in this situation I should just hold this land in hand, actually, to bluff more counters for what they might have. It's possible that I should just put a Moon Circuit Hacker into play, but I don't think I will. Yep, Shambling Ghast will work. At least that's all they did this turn. They didn't decide to develop anything else. They probably have a Deadly Dispute for the Shambling Ghast, actually. There's another land. I'll play a land and pass to them. There's the Deadly Dispute, making a treasure. Probably. Yep. So they have at least 6 mana here, with which they can go Brood Scale, Glee, Adapt. So let's see if they have it. There is a Duress. I have nothing. So they can do that, and they can combo. Sure. Alright, let's go ahead and concede there. Just save some time. That's going to happen. So what we learned there is what? We need to make sure we're hitting our counter magic. I think so. If I don't have a ton of tempo, then yes. Snap is okay to bounce their Brood Scale while Glee is on the stack, but I think I have better answers than that. Bind the Monster lets me get by a Shambling Ghast, but they can still sacrifice it, so that doesn't do too much. Steel Sabotage could be nice as just an additional artifact counter. Their artifacts are Ichor, Wellspring, and I don't think they're playing Lemnis. I think it's just Ichor, Wellspring, and Energy Refractor. But Annul also hits the Glee, which is just so much better. One thing I'm not so sure about is the 3 copies of Dispel. I wonder if I take out a Dispel for, I don't know, another Snare Master Sprite? Just as a, to be aggressive? Yeah, let's try that. They don't have a ton of instants. Alright, so we are going first. Is this a keepable hand? Well, it has a lot of disruption, which is nice. 3 points of disruption, but then no aggression. Against this deck, that might be okay. I think I'm going to take a risk and keep this one. If we can just keep them from hitting all their land drops by countering their card draw and stuff like that, then maybe that will propel us to victory. A hand with a lot of counter magic I think is decent against a mulligan, because if we're just going 1 for 1, then they're going to run out faster. Plus, we're the deck that is actually putting on creature pressure. The nice thing about creature pressure is that it repeats every single turn. They're carefully considering their 6, and if they keep at 6, we'll play an island and pass. So we probably do nothing turn 1 here. I don't know what they could have on turn 1 that could get spell pierced, but maybe something. Colony Garden, okay. That's a good land for them. We'll play an island and pass. I think we're snap countering any shambling ghasts. Yep. Because those are really frustrating long term. And they can't do much with this green mana here. I don't think they have any 1 mana green or colorless spells except for Tamiyo's safekeeping. But I might be mistaken. No Moon Circuit Hacker, unfortunately. We will just play an island and attack. We'll Spell Stutter another Shambling Ghast, for sure. Should I flash this in? I don't think so. Maybe I will next turn now, if I still have all that mana left. I can Spell Pierce a Deadly Dispute there. Okay, they don't have it. So at this point, I think I'll flash one in. On the other hand, if they have a Deadly Dispute, then it's possible that I should play around Drown in Sorrow. I don't think so, because they might not even have the mana to be able to cast the Drown in Sorrow. Plus, we can hold up Counterspell. Let's attack. Ninja. I'll draw a card. Another Counterspell, sure. If I knew that I was going to find a land, I could have one mine, but for now I'll just do it next turn. Okay, they don't have the second black pip to Drown in Sorrow even if they want to. But they can cast a 3-mana spell, Evolution Witness. They might have been trying to tap for a Drown in Sorrow there. I'll pass. Let's cast Of One Mind. Get an island. Attack. We can discard the other island. And pass. They're on a 4-turn clock right now. Still no additional black pip. I don't think it's right to flash in the Spell Stutter here. Well, what could they do if I flash in the Spell Stutter? I am powering up my clock by... They could Suffocating Fumes. Suffocating Fumes, I think, would make me lose. I don't think they play it, but just on the off chance that they do. Alright, let's try a Fairy Seer. If we see a land on top, we can Of One Mind. Yep. And I like Spell Pierce as well, I think, since they are having a hard time with mana. Let's attack. Oh, we're not, we weren't speeding up our clock by 1 because... Oh, we didn't flash in the Spell Starter Sprite. Never mind. It's all good. Let's discard this land. Pass. Duress. Should I Spell Stutter a Duress? I think I can Spell Pierce it. But if they pay the tax, then they can still take a card away. I think the Duress can resolve. That's fine. So I think Spell Pierce wasn't good because they just pay the tax and then they take my Spell Pierce and something else. Energy Refractor. Let's Spell Stutter that one. Help me win a little faster. Okay, we can Ninja of the Deep Hours back a Spell Stutter Spray. And then we'll still have Counterspell, as well as Spell Pierce. Maybe another land too if we get lucky. Move to blockers. Ninja of the Deep Hours on a Spell Stutter Sprite. We will loot. Well, let's draw first. So we'll put that on the stack first. We'll draw with the Deep Hours. And then we will draw again with the Moon Circuit Hacker. We can discard a Brine Bearer Intruder at this point, I think. So what they really need here is a sweeper. Our Spell Stutter sprites do stop sweepers. And if they try to take a sprite off the board, we can Spell Pierce in response. I don't think they'll be able to take a sprite off the board, though, since they're below Snuff Out life. Brood Scale is fine. Alright, we got there. They just threw down the combo, which they can't even start, and we were just able to bully them out in games 1 and 3. Going first helps a lot. In game 2, we didn't quite get there. We didn't have the interactive, reactive stuff. In game 3, we kept a pretty slow hand with not a lot of aggression, but it worked against Golgari, so experiment successful. I'll see y'all in the first top 8 round. Alright, we are starting up the next round. We are in top 8 versus Kako Tibs Pato. And it looks like we have a keepable start with a Fairy Seer and then a 2-mana Ninja, which is okay. Let's keep. If we need to go in the defense, we do have a turn to counterspell. And it looks like we are most likely against mono red. So I think we are decent in that matchup. I think we're okay. I might just pass here into Brine Barrow Intruder. Let's do that. It's pretty good against a Goblin Tomb Raider. Nice. That's what it is. And they didn't pre-play another land, so we can just Brine Barrow Intruder, lower their power, and then block the Voldaren Epicure. Nice. Pretty good turn 1 start there. Alright, so we have, they're on 1 land. So what do we think about Snap and hold up Counterspell? It's okay. I think here I would rather just Fairy Seer of One Mind. Well, Fairy Seer for sure. Let's see what's on top. I don't need another 2-mana Ninja. Another island is okay. Is it? Yeah, it's fine. I think I'll just... I want to block with this Brine Barrow Intruder. Are they likely to take that off the table or one of the fairies if they swing in? I think I'm going to of One Mind here. And pass. So they find another Goblin Tomb Raider, sure. I'll double block one of them. Let's see what they kill. They'll take away the fairy. Okay. So here, I think I might snap Fairy Seer, hold up Counterspell. Of One Mind is good. Island is good. We're probably not blocking. Let's put the of One Mind on top. We're getting in there. We're chipping in. We'll counter the Tomb Raider. They're going to pass through. Okay. So we actually have here an island on top. So I think I'm not going to of One Mind here. Does that make any sense? Let's Ninja first. We'll bring back the Brine Barrow. Use the ability. And then we can island. Yeah, we can go of One Mind. That's fine. Alright, your turn. They're just going to Lightning Bolt on the Ninja, sure. And I'll flash in a Brine Barrow Intruder. We can double Ninja here, that's fine. So we have to worry about End the Festivities here for sure, so we gotta save our Blue Blast for that. Next game. Pass. Island. Island, excuse me. And sure, I'll set up my next draw with a Fairy Seer. They could have main deck End the Festivities for sure. I think we don't need more islands, but we can take the Counterspell. And let's pass. Against End the Festivities, it's not the end of the world. And they find their next land. Okay. So now they're really going to be playing. I think I want to Brine Barrow, but not block that. We currently are showing 6 damage. And they have the End the Festivities. Okay. They do have it main deck. So they could come back into this for sure. We have the Counterspell now. That's good. Do I lock that down with a Snare Master Sprite? Yeah, I think that's okay. Just to prevent it from getting value for a little longer. Let's attack. So currently it is a 4-turn clock. We can make it a 3-turn clock by playing this Fairy Miscreant while still having Counterspell open. You might need to save this Counterspell for another End of Festivities. Reckless Lackey is okay. I think they're both okay. They have another land. What will they do with that? I'm going to take this 2 damage. Okay, they decline to get in. Sure. Let's start with an of One Mind. Good top deck. We'll hold that island for a potential Moon Circuit Hacker. And just get in for 2 here. I don't want them to double block my Brine Barrow Intruder. Alright. Will they loot away a card they don't want? They won't. Alright, so they're working towards Metalcraft, I think. Or they like the cards in their hand. Kultotha Rebirth. I think I should counter that. Goblin Tomb Raider, sure. Let's Brine Barrow and double block. I think they're trying to determine if they're racing here. Let's Brine Barrow and triple block, so they can't just bolt something. Alright, next turn. Island isn't amazing. Should I start getting in with any Brine Barrow intruders? I don't think so. Let's just swing 2. They can start to draw off of these reckless lackeys and get some treasures, which would be fine. Up to 2 cards. I don't want to fall into another End the Festivities. We'll take 1 and pass. Alright. Spellstarter Sprite is good. Let's attack with the fairies. So if they double block one of these, next turn we're getting in with 1, 2, 3. I think we should go for it. We'll full swing. They can double block and get some value. And then even if they bolt another one, okay, so they'll just minimize the damage that they're taking. Makes sense. Or sorry, yeah. By blocking 2 of them, minimize the damage they're taking. Let's pass. They're going to draw a card and make a treasure. So now we just have to worry about Kuldotha Bushwhacker, or End the Festivities, which is what they might be looking for. And they scoop. Alright, fine. So we're both going to be sideboarding a bunch of blasts against each other. So all 6 coming in. In this matchup, I sometimes like to go below, and Dispel is actually okay. I put that in by accident, but I might leave that out. I sometimes like to take out full price counterspells against the red decks if I'm already playing blasts, which are just better. So maybe we'll do that, but I think I can keep Spellstutter Sprite. This might be against Skura's recommendation, by the way, on sideboarding. I think the Snare Master sprites are mid. Actually, let's put the Snare Masters back in. Maybe put 1 in. Take out, I think, all the snaps. Snap is okay against a Goblin token, but we'll take out at least 2. So now the question is, what's better? Snare Master Sprite, Counterspell, or Snap? I don't know if Snap is better on the play or on the draw. I think it might be better on the draw because it can result in comeback potential. We might need like ex post facto options or whatever to be able to wrestle the board back under our control. So maybe Snap is okay, and maybe Snare Master is just too expensive. So I'll take that out. And then I think since I'm on the draw, I'm going to take out 2 Counterspell. On the play, maybe I keep them all in. And I think I'll run it like this. So now I only have 4, 8, 12 fairies and 12 humans. That's fine. Alright. What do I think of this? I've got Snap, which is a fine reactive option. I've got Hydroblast for their Kuldotha Rebirth. They did mulligan. I don't have any ninjas, but I think I can keep this. They're unlikely to turn 1 Kuldotha Rebirth. If they do, they'll be down to 4 cards and no lands. Okay, so no turn 1 Kuldotha. Sure. I think here I'm not going to play the Fairy Miscreant on 1. It's not as good as a Fairy Seer anyway. And the Brine Barrow Intruder is the perfect draw. Great Furnace. Sure. Tomb Raider. Sure. We'll do the Brine Barrow Intruder play again. Okay, we'll still do it. We'll take 2 this time, though. And they are very, very low on stuff. This time they're choosing not to play the Voldaren Epicure. What do I do in this case? Do I Hydroblast 1? Or do I just put a creature into play? I don't think I want to spend the Hydroblast. Let's just Brine Barrow Intruder and take 2. We have a land and a Fairy Miscreant. I could have considered a Snap there. I think I'd rather wait. I think I'd rather use it on a on a Goblin token. So far, a very fast hand with multiple Tomb Raiders. I think I'm going to try a double block, and then I will counter their Bolt if they use a Bolt. Otherwise, I'll just take the 2 and counter something in the second main phase. It's Hydroblast. They're unlikely to have... Hold on. So if we counter this, they take out our creature. We should just Hydroblast their Goblin Tomb Raider at this point. This is better if they have another Bolt. They're going to Voldaren Epicure, sure. Down to 1 card. A lot of artifacts, though, for Galvanic Blasts. Alright, let's just play an island and pass. During their combat, I can snap the Goblin Tomb Raider to reduce the damage I'm taking, and then I can counter it back on the way down. That's kind of annoying. I think I'm going to Spell Stutter Sprite that. And then I think I'm just going to block their 1/1s, because I have single target options against the Tomb Raider. We are both sort of in top decking mode. They're going to crack a blood token right now looking for a land. They don't seem to find one, or at least they don't want to play it if they do. Let's play an island and pass. Reckless Lackey. Sure. Okay, let's snap. And then counter it on the way back down. Unfortunately, we don't have the counter for the Kuldotha, but this thing is just resulting in too much damage. They declined to replay it. Okay, that's fine. Probably seeing that I had counter magic. Let's go with the Fairy Seer. That's a great draw. That should let me get down a Ninja later on. Blue Blast is good, and so is Fairy Seer. Which do we want first? I think we'd rather take the Blue Blast first, just to get the maximum value out of the Fairy Seer. Does that make any sense? Alright, let me think about this for a second. If I draw the Fairy Seer, I would always Blue Blast to the top, right? Even if I can't draw both next turn because I'm not able to Ninja. I think I'd rather have Blue Blast on top. I think if things go wrong and I can't Ninja, that's going to be the better card for me. Let's see if they pitch the Goblin Tomb Raider. They don't. Interesting. So I do think I have to counter the Goblin Tomb Raider. That's not strictly true. Alright, they can swing in for 1. That's fine. The Blue Elemental Blast will also help me to Ninja by making sure this can get through. I don't know if I should hold the counter spell for a Kuldotha because I can Blue Blast the Tomb Raider, but they're playing it slow anyway. They're gonna try to outvalue me by drawing with the Reckless Lackey. Fair enough. Let's go with a Ninja of the Deep Hours. Here, they're gonna bolt against a bolt, so they have exactly Tomb Raider in hand, huh? I'll counter it with the Blue Blast just to be efficient to play the next Fairy Seer down. I have lots of Fairy Seers. Yes, use the ability. So now they can get in for 3 damage with this Tomb Raider, plus maybe more, so I am under the gun. Spell Stutter Sprite is good. Fairy Seer is good, but do I need something more board control-y? No, I don't think I need another Fairy Seer, but I think I need to accept Spell Stutter Sprite. This card is just so good in the matchup, especially if I already have another, or Spell Stutter Sprite, especially if I already have a Fairy on board. So they have the Tomb Raider. So these are going to get in. Do I ever chump? If I chump, I'm at 9. If I don't, I'm at 7. They only have 2 artifacts in play right now, and they might have to go down to 1. What am I doing next turn? Next turn I have Spell Stutter Sprite. I think I need to chump this. I don't know for sure. Take 1. Kuldotha. Alright, they had it. Fine. So I think Fairy Seer here. And then we just can't attack with the Ninja. Blue Blast is good. Spell Pierce is not good at this point in the game. Blue Blast on top. So if I block the Reckless Lackey, they can just sacrifice it and get more value. I don't know about this one. I think I should block 2 Goblin tokens, which will mean I take 4, go down to 5. I think that's okay. I think I need the possibility of drawing more off of this Ninja, maybe. Do you have End the Festivities? No? Okay. There's a Blue Blast. That's good. Let's attack. I know this isn't a blocker for a Goblin, so it might be wrong, but I think I need another card. Yes. Island is actually fine. It means I can do everything. So let's Blue Blast on... Hold on. Let's pass. Let's Blue Blast on the Goblin Tomb Raider. We can go down to 3. That's fine. We have counters. Kuldotha Rebirth. I'll Spell Stutter that. And the Festivities. I'll counterspell that. Maybe that was wrong. I think it's fine. Alright. Do I attack with Ninja of the Deep Hours? If I attack with Ninja of the Deep Hours and get nothing, then I'm dead to Galvanic Blast. I think I should attack. Another island is not good. Let's pass. Do they have lethal? Block here. End step, sure. GG. Alright. Next game. So ultimately, we were just at value parity for too long, and their top decks are better when I'm at low life, so it makes sense. Now that we are on the play, I think I'm okay playing more counter spells again, and taking out the snaps, and I'll run it back like this. Alright, can't keep a no-lander. This is playable. So what are we sending back? I think a counter spell. You can't even cast it right now. You can't cast a spell stutter either, but that is a creature, so that part's nice. They also mulligan. Alright. Mulligan twice. Alright. Down to 5. Sure. Let's go turn 1 Fairy Seer. Try to hit a land drop. 2 lands is fine. Pass. Next turn, play our land, swing in Moon Circuit Hacker. Kuldotha Rebirth. Okay, that's good. That's a really good start. I still think we have to do this. I mean, it's a fast start, but it is fragile. I think it's what they need here. Draw our 3rd land, that's fine. Let's pass. I think we should take 3. We're going to pass as well. Okay, so we took 1 extra damage by not Hydro Blasting there. I think that's okay. I don't think we should put in the Ninja of the Deep Hours here. Let's Fairy Seer first. Another Fairy Seer is good. I don't think I need the land right now. What am I discarding? Probably Ninja of the Deep Hours. Galvanic Blast is a bit annoying. I think I'm going to Hydro Blast just to make sure to preserve my clock. And then now I think I don't play the Fairy Seer that I just drew. Let's pass. We'll block 1, and then counter whatever they do if it's threatening. It's possible that I need to keep the Ninja of the Deep Hours for card advantage. I could see it. Counter that. Dispel is good. Let's go Fairy Seer. I don't think we need another Dispel, but another Spell Starter Sprite is fine. Let's attack. We will have to actually discard one of those. I think I'm going to decline to draw a card here. Alright, let's counter. Hopefully no End the Festivities. Reckless Lackey is okay. We'll take 2, sure. Reckless Lackey is good against Moon Circuit Hacker. Let's attack for 2. This is a really interesting back and forth. They get a free swing in with this Reckless Lackey here, so I might just block a Goblin token with my Moon Circuit Hacker. Block. Alright. Of One Mind. Unfortunately, I just lost the Ninja. I'll just attack. As soon as I can counter something with Spell Stutter Sprite, I'll increase my own clock and reduce what they can do, so that'll be good. Experimental Synthesizer. I'll let that through and counter what they get. Voldaren Epicure. They'll swing 2. I'll counter. Hopefully no land plus End the Festivities. Alright, good. Another Spell Stutter. Alright. So we're on the aggression now. 2 mana. Goblin Bushwhacker. Counter. That'll happen. Please no End the Festivities. They would need land plus. I'll block here. Even though it reduces my clock, I think it's a risk-averse play that I'm alright with. Because I drew an island, I'm okay with Of One Mind here. Let's attack. Moon Circuit Hacker on the Spell Stutter Sprite. Dispel wouldn't work against End the Festivities anyway, because it's a sorcery. We will draw. Do you have it? This is the turn. They do. Okay. Got it. What else do you have? A Clockwork Percussionist. That's spooky. So we'll take 2, go down to 6 here. We will Spell Stutter Sprite in their end step. And then if they do something to it, we can Dispel. Or, of course, we'll counter something before that. Gotta take 2. Brine Barrow is great here. Let's attack. And Moon Circuit Hacker. Alright, good. This is in my hand. That happens, that's fine. Draw a card. Okay. So we might need to... Okay, we can do everything now. Don't need more lands, and we don't need another fairy, I don't think. They're at 3 cards now. But we have 3 counters. Or 2 counters and a Brine Barrow Intruder. And they're probably going to be swinging all out, because they can't just play around this thing. This is defensive and offensive when they're at 1. So they know we have a Spell Stutter Sprite in hand, but that's it. Spell Stutter and 2 unknowns. Sure. So how do we beat 2 bolts here? Just by doing nothing, I think. Let's flash in a... No, Brine Barrow won't help us here. We'll attack. We can attack with both. It's fine. No, let's just leave the Moon Circuit Hacker back. We are in Fire Blast range. We need to keep that in mind. I don't think there's anything we can do. Let's Spell Stutter. Alright, GG's. Just made it through. 2-1 versus Kuldotha. On to the top 4. Let's go. See y'all in the next round. Alright, here we are in our first game of top 4 against Alan Zito 1997. Let's go ahead and go first. Alright, we have a passable start with a fairy on 1 into a ninja on 2. We could also counterspell on 2. I'm not excited about it, but I think I should keep this. Just the fact that we have the 3 critical components of fairy, ninja, and lands makes me want to keep. The opponent's mulliganing down to 5, which is definitely good news for us. When we're going first and they're on 5, we can sort of punish them. We can sort of punish them with these counterspells. Let's go Fairy Miscreant. And they're going to keep at 5. I have no clue what they're playing. I'm not sure if I was watching any of their matches before. It looks like there is another fairy player in the top 4, which is cool. At least one. Goldeneye Bridge. Interesting. So I think this is Orzhov Blade. Against that, in case they just have a Tithing Blade, I sort of want to have Counterspell on 2. And they're going to pass. Alright, if they're passing, what could they have? Cast Down, potentially. Alright. They're definitely playing around the counter there. That's good for them. Let's attack. See if they want to block. Now that I thought about it, they're not going to block now. So if I Ninja and they cast down, how bad is that? It's bad, but maybe not the worst. And maybe they just don't have the cast down. Maybe they're just implying it here. They have a Disfigure. Very interesting. Okay, well I never would have played around that card. They have the Disfigure. Alright. So now let's go ahead and redrop that Miscreant, I think. This is my last creature. I think I'll do it, and then if they take it out, I'll just of one mind for 3. It's not looking good here, but it's not looking great for them either. They did have to mulligan down to 5, so they're definitely making the best of a situation. 2 mana, 2 black. There's the Tithing Blade. Alright. So that's sort of what I was afraid of. For sure. Given that they did drop the Tithing Blade, maybe it is for the best for me here just to go ahead and pass, because that is a good target for a Core Skyfish or a Glinthawk, so I think I'll just pass here. They were able to disassemble what I was doing without too much trouble. And so far, they've been pretty good at just passing when I'm passing and going when I go. So I guess that's just the way. I'm just going to hard cast a Moon Circuit Hacker here. That'll still allow me to counterspell. Cast down? I think cast down is fine. So now let's see if they develop a creature behind that and pick up the Tithing Blade. Next turn, I could try to of one mind and see if I can find land number 5. Alright, they're still playing around the 2 mana. Makes sense. Of one mind. Fairy Seer. Let's hold that and pass. We really need to protect it. We might be snapping back our own stuff here, to be honest. At 4 mana, what could they start to have? Potentially, I think Thraben Inspector has to be okay. Could they have Guardian of the Guild Pact? I don't really know what Orzhov plays, to be honest with you. I play Mardu, so I'm not super familiar with this deck. Alright, another land is not really where I need it to be. Let's Fairy Seer. Of One Mind is good, and Fairy Seer is good, but let's get Of One Mind first. If we're going to be flooded, at least we want something to do with our mana. We can play that island then. And pass. They can crack a clue. Draw out of their mulligan a little bit. Sure. They seem pretty flooded for a mull to... What is it? A mull to 5? Honestly. Okay, we'll start here. Tap down. They could flip the Tithing Blade as soon as they actually lose a creature. Is it okay to Fairy Seer here? I think 4 mana is an important breakpoint. And I think one nice thing about being so flooded is I have the luxury to sort of do that. So I'm okay developing 1 turn slower here. And I think it's an important breakpoint, so if they have... I can fight 2 removal spells. 6 lands. They don't even swing for 1, which is really interesting. I think they probably ought to there. Snap, I don't need more of those. And Miscreant is... passable. It is a creature. I still have 7 ninjas in the deck. I think I can look for a ninja a little bit harder. So now I just have 2 Fairy Miscreants somewhere in the middle of the deck. Yeah, I gotta be very careful about actually removing their creature here, because then they can just flip their Tithing Blade and sort of nullify a lot of this damage that I would be doing, that I'm working for. They continue not to attack, which is odd. Let's swing with 2. Another Fairy Seer is a decent pickup. Of course, Refurbished Familiar is going to be scary, and I think they are playing it with these artifact lands and the Tithing Blade, etc. The clues. Ninja of the Deep Hours and Dispel are both good. I think I can afford to put Dispel below Ninja of the Deep Hours. I can't figure out why they're doing nothing. I think they probably have some kind of board wipe. I don't think I should play any more islands this game. I think I should just prepare those as refurbished fodder. I probably should have been doing that for a while, to be honest with you. Alright, so let's attack in and ninja. We have a decent clock on them now, but I think I can do some tricksy things with this snap here. Alright, let's snap it back. Let's go here. That resolves. Yes, let's use the ability. There's a Dispel. So because of this spell, I can now hold up Counterspell plus Dispel and replay this Fairy Seer. I'll take my last Fairy Seer. That's fine. Glinthawk. Interesting. Do they really have sweepers, though? Do they have a main deck Arms of Hadar? I think Glinthawk gets double duty against us, but through the Tithing Blade and through being a flying blocker. So I'm going to counterspell that. And then if they core Skyfisher, I can Snare Master it. Refurbished Familiar. Okay. So what's the worst here? Probably Snap. Although I'm not too sure. Core Skyfisher. Okay. Picking up the Refurb. Yep. Yeah, so this is where I'm getting sort of punished for not holding extra islands in hand. Even though I did end up using most of my mana on that last turn. Alright. Probably a... This is interesting. Probably the Fairy Seer. And there's another one. Okay. Alright, how am I doing this? So I'm tapping down the core Skyfisher, right? Hold on. Let's see what's on top. Counterspell is good. Okay, let's tap down the core Skyfisher. So should I send my ninja right into the Refurbished Familiar? If I do, then I am getting in for 2 here, 4 next turn. They're at 8. I mean, it doesn't change the clock. It's just, they'll just block it. I think I should, just so it's not a valid bounce target. I'd rather them not get more repeated value off of this thing. I've seen 2 flyers at this point. Core Skyfisher. Probably pick up Tithing Blade. Yep. And Tithing Blade will kill a Fairy Seer. There. And another Tithing Blade will kill another Fairy Seer. And I think I am kind of out of stuff. Let's pass. We do have Counterspell. But now we're facing down these core Skyfishers forever. They have creatures in the graveyard, so they can start flipping the blades. Let's see if they do it. They full swing. Sure. Take 5. If we top deck a ninja, maybe we have a chance. Top deck a ninja, bounce the Snare Master. Use it again next turn. A Dawnbringer Cleric. Okay. It's fine. I would have flipped Tithing Blade there. Alright, this is doable now. Very Miscreant. Okay. Let's play it. And pass. But this blocks the hackers, these block the fairies, and they can just gain life off of Tithing Blades. Lembus. Sure. I don't think this is winnable at this point. Let's just concede to save time. Alright, so against them, I think Bind the Monster is pretty decent to tap down the core Skyfisher, although they could bounce it back, but that's slow, so it's possible. I really like Steel Sabotage, because it not only can counter an artifact, but it also can... it can counter an artifact, but it also can bounce a land. Dispel is, I think, good. They had Cast Downs and Disfigures, and I think they're going to be bringing in more of that as well. They're going to be playing Sweepers, probably Arms of Hadar. So I should keep Spell Pierces. I think I'm going to put in 2 and all. I think Snap is not great, because although it can get around their core Skyfisher and such, they have a lot of powerful ETBs. So let's take out the Snaps and put in the Snare Master. And then... we could play Bind... I was just talking about Bind the Monster. Let's put those in and see if we have things we can cut. Going first. Spellstarter Sprite is good against them. They have cheap stuff. I think Brine Barrow Intruder is not as amazing. So we'll take one of those out. And between Bind the Monster and Snare Master, I think I'd rather have Snare Master. So let's just take those back out. I think we don't have space. Let's submit. So they definitely got me. They were able to play very passively. And I wasn't expecting that. We'll keep this. And just Miscreant on 1. They can Disfigure, which is annoying for sure. We have enough lands to slowly play out the Ninja of the Deep Hours and hold up Spell Pierce every turn. That's pretty good unless their first artifact is a refurbished familiar, which I can only deal with an annul or a steel sabotage. They'll play a plains into nothing, so no Thraben Inspector. Alright. Interesting keep for sure. Let's attack. I'm gonna ninja next turn if possible. We'll Snare Master Sprite and pass. So they want to put out a Lembas or a Tithing Blade here. We'll just counter either one. It'll help them reach Metalcraft, which we don't like. Yeah, we'll counter that. So this makes the Ninja of the Deep Hours a little bit riskier for sure. I think I'll just attack for 2 and try to counterspell. We have all the land drops to protect the Ninja, so let's make use of that. I'll also counter a Refurbished Familiar here as well, right? So Refurbished costs 2. Alright, they have 3 mana online. They could have put in Suffocating Fumes. I don't think we can play around double removal. I think we need to just ninja and try to fight the first removal, especially if it's a cast down. If it's a Disfigure, then maybe not. Then maybe we hold back. Alright, it just works. Nice. Yes, use the ability. Annul is good. Let's pass. We can annul plus Brine Barrow, or we can counterspell. They are Metalcraft. 2 mana. Interesting. Cast down. Sure. So they just drew that, huh? Cast down was their top deck. Let's put this into play. Okay. A lot of counters now. Let's attack for 2. Play a Snare Master. So far they've been doing well at developing very slowly. So we want to hold up in multiple counters. I could also bounce their land, but they're really not making use of their mana here. Okay. Annul that. Counter. And then the Refurbished Familiar will get through. Omen of the Dead. Okay. Sure. So they're playing the grind game here. That is clear. Snare Master is pretty mid. Not much to do here except attack. There is a question of whether I should be putting the Snare Master into play, but I think so. I think if they have a board wipe, I can't really win. Although by waiting, I could have tapped down the Core Skyfisher, so that was potentially a play, but I think I need something else off the top than just tapping down a Core Skyfisher, to be honest. There's the Skyfisher. Yep. So I think at this point, I'm not really getting in unless I have a Ninja. Counterspell is good. That means that we can comfortably stay with a stalemate for a little while. Dawnbringer might have to be fine. Yeah, Dawnbringer's fine. It's very Seer. Need to find some ninjas, some more Snare Master sprites, I suppose. If I have any more, I might only have 2 in here. I think I have 2. Spell Stutter is good. Moon Circuit is good. Let's put both on top in that order. Pass. They play another land, sure. Alright, so let's get in with the flyers. We have Counterspell backup. Unfortunately, we won't have Spell Stutter after that, though. But I don't think there's too much we can do about that. We can't be too picky. We will have Steel Sabotage backup. That's the one you're blocking? Okay. Let's pick up a Snare Master to try to get in with more damage later. We'll counter the removal. And they have another. 3 mana. They have the fumes. Okay, they got me. What am I gonna do? They're a god gamer. Alright, let's play a little longer. Maybe they will get too ambitious. Start just going in. I can take them by surprise. Let's just hold off the Snare Master for now. Probably should have played it last turn to have the Spell Starter sprite up. Okay, now we'll do it. Now I have the Dispel that I needed before. So the fact that I didn't use the ability is really sus there. That means that I have more to do in my hand. Although they're probably always assuming that. We can pass. Pass. Novice Inspector has to be okay. I mean, I could Spell Stutter it, but I think I have things that are a million times more important. It is the tempo play. It cuts them off card draw, but I don't think it's right. We'll hold the island for refurbs. And yeah, just in both games here, I know this is just, like I've said before, kind of academic at this point, just playing really slow, trying to see if I can somehow win in the late game. Let's try to counter that. But I really do have to try it. I still have of One Minds in the deck, which are currently online. Tithing Blade. That is a Spell Stutter, and then I can dispel their removal. So now I have 2 flyers against their 1. I could ninja. Core Skyfisher will unfortunately happen. Probably pick up Novice. Yep. They don't even think they need the life gain. The Terror. And I'm fine just kind of letting the game go long to see if I can find a way out. I should have held that island. That was a mistake. Core Skyfisher. Yep. Not much I can do against this. You know, I'm just going to go ahead and scoop. They've got it. They've got a bunch of 2/3s. I could maybe get through one or two of them with some timely ninjas, but some well-placed, very well-placed removal from the opponent. Sweepers. That Suffocating Fumes was great. I wasn't able to play around it, and they held it for the perfect moment. They played the games out slow. They recognized that they just needed to stem my aggression at some key points, wait until I had a board built up, and take me out of it. So we finished top 4. Let's concede. And I will see you in the outro. Just a second. Hey everybody, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed those games. I definitely did, although I am also a little bit relieved to be here talking to you all and that it's all over. It stresses me out sometimes playing in slightly higher stakes environments, even though I also enjoy it and it really fires up my competitive mindset. But now that it's all over, let's talk about the tournament and talk about the games. Generally speaking, I was happy with Mono-Blue Fae. It looks like it was pretty popular because at the very least one other player in the top 4, Fred Hawk, also brought Fae to this tournament, and then I think I saw one other competitor when I was between games playing it as well. So it seems to be catching on. We'll see if it's a flavor of the week or it really becomes sort of more of a meta mainstay and it shifts back into the spotlight, kind of akin to how Elves has, where Elves seemed to be past its prime, and then through a combination of new tools and the metagame shifting, it sort of came back and became a strong contender again. Anyway, all of that aside, I was happy with the deck. Let's go into the games. In the first game, we were against Golgari Broodscale, and I think, honestly, this is probably a good matchup for me, although they can combo off pretty early. As long as my starting hand has some sort of interaction in it, I feel pretty good. Now, usually that interaction needs to be able to counter their 2-mana plays, which could be Ichor Wellsprings. I don't know how often they play like Lembas, for example, but it seems like they play Ichor Wellspring, Deadly Dispute, and Energy Refractor at the very least. And against all of those plays, it's very important to have counter spells, spell pierces, or sufficiently large spell stutter sprites that can counter 2 CMC spells. But overall, I felt pretty good. In my turn 2 hand, it was more aggressive, but that wasn't really the half of the deck that I needed. It turns out I just need more answers than they have game-winning cards, and ultimately I did. Now, if I were to go up against Jund Broodscale, I would not be nearly as confident. I feel like that deck can sort of more play the mid-range game plan, as well as having sort of a combo finish. And I think for Mono-Blue Fae, it's sort of difficult to beat both halves of that. You have to work pretty hard to get through the Chrysalis, which sort of forces you to tap out and just let them combo you. Now, they're not always going to have it. They're not going to have it as consistently and as early, but I would rather face Golgari Broodscale any day of the week. Just my opinion. In the second match, we were up against Kuldotha Red, and that's always a really engaging matchup. I think that we have a pretty decent, at least playable matchup into Kuldotha. We have tons of counters for all of their 1-mana spells, and then in the sideboard, we are fully teched out with 6 copies of Blue Elemental Blast and Hydro Blast to go toe-to-toe with them. And that's a really engaging matchup, I think, where every point of life matters. Every single time that I might end step flash in a Brine Barrow Intruder instead of flashing it in earlier in the turn just to stay flexible might end up biting me in the butt, and meaning that I take that 1 critical point of damage to lose the game. It was a hard-fought one again. It was a 2-1, but we ended up getting through it. I'd love to play more of that matchup when I play this deck in paper coming up soon. And in the third match, we were up against Orzhov Blade, and that deck really took me by surprise. Let me know if this is the general play pattern that Orzhov Blade follows. If you think that the player that I was up against was sort of changing their style and their own deck's tempo to match and counteract mine, or if you think it was just sort of the lucky/unlucky product of my opponent's draw. At first, it seemed like they had nothing. They were just playing lands. They were flooded out. But then eventually they turned the corner. They started answering every single thing that I had and then chaining off with all of their artifacts and their artifact recursion cards. It was crazy. And I have a decent amount of experience with Mardu synthesizer or Mardu Blade. It's probably my favorite deck that I've made actually a video on this channel before. And whenever I play Mardu Blade, it plays out completely differently than that. So very well played by the opponent. I think that they sequenced their board clears perfectly and held the removal for when it really mattered. When I left mana up, they also passed. When I tapped out, they would take that opportunity to do something that I couldn't really deal with after the fact. So I think they threaded the needle really well. I think that about sums up my performance. I'm hoping that I have the continued opportunity to play in the Fuguete League and other similar MTGO tournaments online, and maybe get into the Season 20 championships as well to show you all my performance in 10 weeks. We'll see. We can only hope. Remember, if you like this content and want to see more Pauper content just like this, both Mono-Blue Fae and a lot of other decks, please leave a like, a comment, and a subscription. More of that content will be delivered directly to you, and it really helps me out as well. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next Pauper video.